Good Friday, everyone. Looking at our weather map for today, we see a weak cold front that's kind of making its way on through. It started coming through yesterday. Now it's kind of finishing the journey. It's only going to reinforce a northerly breeze that will bring drier air and in return a little bit of cooler air. So a very comfortable evening to go to the Cumberland County Fair if you head that way. So elsewhere across the country, we see some unsettled weather in the Northeast, some very stormy weather up there this morning. They've had even a couple of tornado warnings that I've seen. And then farther out west, things are becoming very unsettled. They've had a very dry monsoon season, so they're very below on rainfall across a great portion of the southwest U.S. And they've been very, very hot, and that's all about to change. Looking at our 5-day forecast, we see mostly sunny skies all the way through Tuesday. Very pleasant temperatures for our Friday. Highs around 80, lows tonight in the mid 50s. Sleep with those windows open. And then Saturday, it's mostly sunny. Highs around 80, lows around 60. And then Sunday, we start getting warm. We start creeping up into the mid 80s. Humidity starts coming back. And by Monday and Tuesday, we're back to August. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid, but it's going to be sunny. Just make sure you're safe in the heat. On this day in 1925, during the late morning hours, a severe hailstorm struck southeastern Iowa, completely destroying crops along a path 6 to 10 miles wide and 75 miles long. The hail also injured and killed poultry and livestock and caused a total of $2.5 million in damage, and this is in 1925. The hailstorm flattened fields of corn to such an extent that many had to leave their farms in search of other work. It was one of the worst hailstorms of record for the entire nation. So thank goodness we're not dealing with anything like that anywhere today. The tropics are heating up. I have more info on this in the blog, but we have 4 areas that we're going to be watching basically next week. This basically starts, that system in the Gulf is something that's going to be coming into there about Monday or so. And then these other 3 systems we'll just have to track as they come across, the red one being the most likely to develop. I mentioned the western U.S. is going to get active. I've got more information on that in the blog. A very rare tropical system headed towards Southern California. It'll be the first one in 84 years and only the 3rd in history. They've not had a hurricane since the 1800s, and they've only had one of those. And it's probably not going to be a hurricane, but the system is a Cat 4 right now. And it's moving that direction, but it's going to weaken substantially as it moves into cooler Pacific waters that normally protect California from tropical impacts. But areas that have rainfall records of like 2 and 3 inches, I mean, that's their biggest rainfall totals ever in Southern California, could get 5 inches or so from this system. So a very significant flooding event is potentially headed their direction. So that'll all be moving in them on about Monday. So stay tuned for that. If I'm not mistaken, I think rainfall's arriving in Hawaii on Monday for those for the burn areas, but it could come down too hard too fast and cause problems for them too. So next week's looking like a very active weather week thanks to the tropics. And so we expect that this time of the year, but I think this year might be a little bit more dramatic than usual. You folks have a wonderful Friday and keep looking up. And for more weather information, just keep reading along in the blog, meteorologistmark.com.